So hi guys. So today the main topic is the my journey of electron development. This is really because um, I have some kind of habit that if I feel like getting burnout, I do what I like. So which is coding. I like building stuff with just bunch of like imagination and with some kind of nonsense imagination. And also, like I made the video about explaining the DB indexing algorithm, which is the B-tree, and I implement all of it, and and I was wondering, so why can't I just use this kind of use this indexing algorithm and make some kind of DB database for the personal, um, and I saw some kind of electron development, and in the so electron is basically using the chromium for the from the this view of it. So this is actually opened by the chromium, and so this UI is actually a build from the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So I was wondering, so why can't I some kind of make this type application since I know some kind of concept of the operating system and the React development because I've been like studying React or I've been in this industry front end engineer like almost 2 years, 3 years. I'm studying, not in the industry. I'm in the industry only 9 months. So I made it, and so this kind of really wonderful thing. Actually, this is already the desktop applications. Those kind of thing is actually made by Tailwind CSS and Shadcn UI. Wait, uh, uh, it crushed. So, and I feel like, and like yesterday I just think about why I chose the Electron Forge rather than Electron Builder because there's so much some kind of boilerplate for the just making React TSX UI. For example, the bit they use, there's kind of like the Electron bit whatever stuff, and it just forcing me to make boilerplate, even though that is not really worth it, and that made me some kind of more curious about why do I have to care about like boilerplate only for the render process because um, those kind of rendering like HTML, CSS, JavaScript is actually in the render process in the one thread, the main thread. There's no multi-thread. The UI we are parsing UI, making UI is just the using one thread, which is called the main thread inside the render process. So I was wondering, so why don't I using it? So I just copy paste the Shadcn code and make into my own, and if I finally think that's some um, kind of opportunity because there's no open source React TSX with the Electron. And I feel like the reason why nobody open source is because there's a few people trying to make using Electron TSX, and also it's kind of hard. And moreover, they don't know they wanna make their own source code into public because I don't know. I don't know why. So this is really how I made, and this is also the JavaScript and those kind of things. And um, I feel like this is really good. Everything is this extra JavaScript, CSS, and those kind of things. So, but my question about, and I think also how I think of Electron based. Mostly we use the React, like CSR, React with the some kind of ladder, for the and they make some kind of CSR based application. But if it's like desktop application, I don't really prefer CSR. Why? Because the basically CSR means that, hey JavaScript, you do everything. So even the loading concept and the even building little small HTML, the JavaScript is doing everything. If it's like that's the application, the handling the thread is important. Because why? Because if it's like your browser actually, you can really, even though you decrease the render process, the main thread, the thread parsing and making it renders the web page, it doesn't make it really made business impact because user can have multiple web tabs. So even though you optimize your website, there's already limitation of it. But since those kind of Electron only uses one thread for the UI and there's no other tabs, so you have to make it really fast. Thread is actually the execution part of the process. So you have to think about how many time costs this thread has. If more JavaScript you manage is equals to the more thread I don't know what to say in English, but more you occupy on the thread, because CSR means that even making JavaScript, even making HTML uses JS. So this is like HTML part, and this is like JavaScript part. So what is JavaScript? And after JavaScript part, there's already HTML part. So even making this kind of UI costs this kind of JavaScript. So JavaScript, so it's like this, JS, HTML, JS, HTML. So rather than doing it, already pre-renders the HTML first and do only the interaction on the JavaScript. So it's actually SSG with the CSR. So, and my goal is, since we are using Webpack, I'm gonna use the SSG for it, because I'm just gonna wrap a whole of the HTML. I'm just gonna pre-render the dry HTML. I'm just gonna I'm gonna put the CSR, no client component or interactivity on the dry HTML. So that's also called the hydration part. And the reason why I don't like server-side rendering, because the server-side rendering is basically server. If you look at the operating system concept of it, the server is basically opening the socket but inside your local computer. It's gonna do a bunch of IPC between your between your OS kernel, and that could make some kind of memory issue of it. So I'm just gonna try to not use server-side rendering. But actually using server-side rendering for just the UI is kind of really over-engineering. So this is really how I think of the engineering in desktop application using Electron TSX with the React Webpack. So this is it. Have a nice day. See you next time. Bye bye.